and I can see these two prostitutes on the corner because the street's catty corner like this. I killed him and I'm gonna kill you. And I got my PR-24 and I, boom, dropped him with a throat shot. And the whole car just like a big old fume of gas and just, whoa, just, the whole car just exploded. And he's laying on his back and his whole stomach's blown wide open, just blood and, guts everywhere. My dad being a police officer, he was undercover a lot. He did a lot of undercover work. They'd insert him. Like he was a hitman for the Mexican mafia for like 6 months. And we'd be eating dinner, and when my dad goes inserted, where he has to play the part of a hitman for the cartel, he would disappear for like 2 months. And my mom and dad would say, your dad's in the barrel. That's the code for all of us, is to say, we can't get a hold of him. The other, team is surveilling him. They can't talk to him. He's playing a part. Because if they find out that he's a cop, especially in Tijuana, Mexican cartel, it'd be worse than what it is. And he finished the case, got a conviction, but that was like a long time ago, back in the 80s, 70s.
Do you know the whole story? Your father ever told you?
Yeah, he was undercover one time, and he had a situation where he was in the house with all the dealers and they were sitting around. My dad was playing the part of a drug dealer, and Look magazine did an article on my dad, and they promised him not to. They promised them, my dad and the sheriff's office and the sheriff, we're not going to publish this article about your father until the case is over. And next thing you know, some guy comes into the house and starts pointing at my dad. He's a cop, blah, blah, blah. He didn't have the paper, the Look magazine, because it has a picture of him standing there next to a tree on the cover. Didn't even look like a cop. And my dad turned around and made it to where that guy was the cop. He was really good at rewording, and he's really good at trickery. So he turned around and made it that he was a cop, and they were going to shoot him, but then my dad said, don't shoot him because we're all going to be here for murder, so, do what you want, but we're out of here. As soon as they did that, they disbanded my dad's assignment. And now everybody knows he's a cop because Look magazine put out the articles. So that's when they put him in the district attorney's office as an investigator, because they had to hide him somewhere. And that's where he did. He was just nothing but an undercover cop. That's all he liked to do. And he was a good guy, good people. He treated people with respect, helped a lot of people. He would just go out of his way to, appease somebody who's down and out, or he'd pull over on the side of the road and see somebody having a hard time going across. He'd go out there and either take him home or walk him across the street. And it'd be like, hey, Dad, why do you do that? He goes, you're supposed to do that. It's good. It's good for you. Okay. And my mom, she was from Mexico, so she was real short-tempered. And she had to put up with 5 kids back to back, one right after another. And I have a twin sister, and my mom was under a lot of stress because my dad was gone a lot undercover, but he set my mom up. My dad died of colon cancer, what I have, and it sucks, but it is what it is. But my mom, seriously, she went through a lot with my dad. My dad never laid a hand on my mom, and he wouldn't yell at us, or sometimes he would come up and smack us upside the head and plumb us up. But my mom would just let my dad take care of it. And then she'd go, I'm going to tell you wait till your father gets home, and, go in your room and wait. But then my dad would get home, my mom wouldn't tell my dad because my dad's under a lot of stress with work. So we'll be the ones reaping the harvest of his stress. So my mom wouldn't say nothing. You know, she'd just sit down and say, hey, don't do that, all right? But he guided me along. I went through Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Weeblos, Boy Scout. Didn't make my Eagle, but I was close. I always wanted to be a cop when I was a kid. And my dad's, oh, you want to go to the Explore program and check it out? I'll drive you down there. And I'm like, all right. I think I was like 17. And my dad drops me off, and I went in there, and there was just nothing but dorks, you know, in the Explore program, wanting to be cops and stuff like that. You know, they're just, Dad picked me up that night, and he goes, what do you think? I go, don't bring me back. He goes, now what are you going to do? He goes, why don't you try out for the life? Because I was a surfer. I surfed my whole life. And I was a swimmer on a swim team. So my dad's all, go get into lifeguards. You'll make it. So I did. Then I went up into the paramedics. One instant, we had a shooting, and we went to MLK trauma with the patient. It was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. And the patient died on us, and I'm driving the rig, so we leave, and I'm sitting on the intersection of San Pedro and Imperial Highway, and I can see these two prostitutes on the corner because the street's catty corner like this. So we were over here, and they were way over there, and I'm sitting there thinking about the case we had before. Like if we did anything wrong, I'm going scenarios through my head, you know, what did we do wrong? And these prostitutes were trying to get my attention, and we carry morphine, Demerol on board, and but not enough to be robbed, you know. So I'm like looking, I go, hey, there's strawberries over there, they're trying to get my attention. They're like, dude, don't respond because we have, you know, meds on board. I'm like, it's not enough. So I gave them a swipe of the spotlight, and they're all like, come here. And me being a lifeguard for LA County, I was taught and trained on how to read body movement, body gestures, and right then I knew something was up. So I told Hank, I'm going in. So I turn on my lights, and I go over to him, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And they're all like, oh, man's been shot. And I'm like, where? Go down the tracks in the alley. And I'm like, great. I go, we don't carry that much on board. Are you going to roll us? I'll just give you the stuff. And they're all like, no, man's been shot. And Hank's going, dude, let's just go. And I'm like, no, I'm going in. So I made a U-turn, and I head up, and I go down the railroad tracks. And I hear, there. And I get out. My partner, he goes, I ain't getting out. So I get out, and I got my flashlight, and I'm looking around, and next thing I know, boom, I bump into him. And he's laying on his back, and his whole stomach's blown wide open, just blood and, you know, guts everywhere. And I'm all, Hank, this is real. And when I bumped into him, he's just laying there, and he wasn't saying nothing, like he was making peace with his maker, because he was by himself. He was 16 years old, and he was by himself at 3 o'clock in the morning. Had his school books right next to him, the basketball, and right in that area was all Crip territory. You know, in the 80s, it was just, you don't walk those streets period. And bump into him, and he looks at me, and I go, hey, I'm a paramedic, I'm here to help you. And he starts screaming. As soon as he started screaming, down the alley, I hear pop, 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 pop. And I'm looking at the muzzle flash. I'm like, we're getting shot at. So I lay on top of him, and I put my hand over his mouth, and I'm like, got my head in the grass, and we're like in like grass about that high by the railroad tracks. And I'm down there holding his mouth because he's screaming, and I'm laying on top of him. All I hear is sizzling sound of it was the grass. It was the bullets going through the grass, and it sounded like sizzling bacon. So Those bullets were that close to us. And then it stopped. You know, they split because they were down the alley. So when they left, you know, that's when I started and I piggyback IV and I just started jamming on them. And then I was like, couldn't load them up and scoop and run them because we don't know are they coming back? Are we going to expose ourselves? So we just took cover. And I put a bunch of gauze in his stomach and I rolled him over on his side. And I look, cut up his shirt, and I look and all I see is a spinal bone from his spine just like shattered, like a shattered glass. And I'm like, do you feel your feet? And I got my scissors and I'm like scraping his feet real hard. And I go, you feel that? He goes, I don't feel a thing. I'm like, oh. And then I'm trying to get PD backup to give me some backup so I get the guy out. And then they were telling me, oh, we're setting up a command post. I go, I got a man here with his guts blown wide open. We're taking fire. I need some firepower right now. Now, let's get in there. So they were right there, like 10 cop cars. Just, I threw him in the back. We threw him in the back, took him to MLK, and he lived. He lived. He was a paraplegic from here down. That's where his spine was shot, but he lived. And you know, and there he was. Just when I remember so clearly when I walked up and I looked, he's just laying there, quiet, just looking at the sky, like meeting his maker. And then I come in and you know, save his life. And that was pretty traumatic. It was a Sunday, and it was like this summer, and a beautiful sunset, and our station was on Florence and Western, right there off Hobart Street, and down right at Hobart Street there's a banger bar called the Hobart Club. It's a nightclub, and it only rocks on Sundays and Wednesday nights. It was a crip hangout for badass cars going there. A lot of Tupac or Suge Knight would be in there, and I had to deal with him because we got back from a call, and I was back. My partner had to go to the bathroom, so I just backed up into the garage, and all of a sudden, boom, big old crash, like huge. So I get out and I look down the street, and it's on Hobart Street in Florence, and there's these cars just strewn all over. So I'm like, hey, we got a TC at Hobart Street. And he goes, well, I'm in the bathroom. I go, well, I'm going to come around, just look for my light bar. So I pull up, and there's these ladies standing there, and I go, hey, what's up, anybody hurt? And they're all like, no one's hurt. And I go, okay, where's the driver of the car that's caused this mess? And they're all like, he's right there he goes. And he's taking off in his car up the street, Hobart Street, on the other side of Florence. So I'm like, I got this. So I turn around, I go after him. Got my sirens going. I was just going to get his license plate number, and that's it, you know. But he gets out and he starts running. So we carry handcuffs on board, and I take out on foot after him just by myself. And he was just so drunk, I caught up to him like that. So I take him down, I put handcuffs on him, and I'm like, come on, let's go. And everything was cool, and all of a sudden this big old mob came up. And they were like just pissed off, and they were just like jumping him. They were just beating him up with the handcuffs behind him. And here I am going, I got to die for this guy now. I put him in my custody. Now I'm going to have to die for him. If he dies, I'm going to die. Simple as that. And the Hobart Club had a security guard, and he was a Oriental guy, little Oriental guy. But he had his Sam Brown belt. He had all this stuff and a PR-24 nightstick. So I'm like pushing back everybody for the driver who's in handcuffs. And I look over to the side, and security guard's helping me. And I grab his PR-24, and I just start swinging it I started backing people off. And Shook came up to me and gave me had a wad of hundreds, and he goes, look, here's this money, take it and walk away. Take it. I'm like, no. He goes, I'm going to kill him and I'm going to kill you. And I got my PR-24 and I, boom, dropped him with a throat shot because I knew that was it. And I dropped him. And then I just grabbed him and I threw him in the ambulance, and he locked the doors and we split and went around waiting until PD got there where we have enough backup. And I came in and Sergeant saw, hey, Jesse, had a little excitement, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I did. He goes, you shouldn't have done that. I go, yeah, you're right, I fucked up. And there's Shook Knight standing on the sidewalk, a big old crowd with the accident. And I didn't know it was Shook Knight. I was just went a little crazy just to protect this guy. And he goes, what happened? I go, yeah, you see that guy right there? He goes, me and him had it out. He goes, no way, that's Shook Knight. He's bad, blankety blank. And I'm like, oh, man. He goes, now we're going to get our station shot up. So I'm like, no, I'll go over there. So I went over there and walked up to him and I go, hey, you remember me? And he goes, yeah, I remember you. I go, look, I had a job to do. So, look at it that way. And he goes, no, you did good. I go, are we cool? He goes, yeah, we're cool. I'm like, thank God. Because if they weren't cool, they would just go by and, back then they had Uzis, 9mm. They just pepper the station up. Didn't want that. But that was another hair-raising experience. Or driving Code 3 was a lot of fun.
Yo, tell me more.
Okay. We had a call, and it was out of our area, but the call came out on a 999 for a non-breathing baby in the pool. It was a drowning. And so they bailed us out, and we went. So I'm jamming down, driving all bells and whistles down Florence. And right there on Florence, there's a railroad track. Florence goes like this, and then there's a 40-mile rail track that goes right there neck and neck before you get to Prairie. And I'm like neck and neck with the engineer, and I'm looking at Prairie, and I look at the engineer, and he goes like this, like, where are you going? And I go, Prairie. Pointed, and he looks, and he goes. So I'm like, Hank, what do you want to do? You want to go for it? And he's like, yeah, go for it. I go, okay. So I dropped it down, jammed down Florence, came around the turnstile, and there was a train right there, head on. Whoa! I'm like, whoa! And I almost went like this. And instead of putting my hands up, we would have been dead. I just, yanked it hard left to where you can get out of that get off that track when you come around the turnstile. And it was like this, whoa, bam. And I was just like, yeah, we did it. That was cool. Forgot about what we were doing. I forgot what I was supposed to be doing, like going to go save a baby. And my partner's crying. He's in tears. He's all, I couldn't believe you did that. No way. So I smacked him upside his head. I go, dude, if you would have said no, I would have backed off. But you said go for it, so I went for it. So what? And we didn't hear nothing from the Union Pacific Railroad. They didn't come over and kick us out of the station. But we had some fun, But it was a rough time back in the 80s, because there was a lot of crack that was involved back in the 80s, and it was just, people were just, not as bad as a pandemic, but as far as, when the crack war was going on, people were just killing everybody. And then on Mother's Day, we'd call it, that's when the welfare checks come once a month. Then we call it Mother's Day because that night usually gets pretty busy. Because, they got moneyed up and then they're robbing each other all their money that they get. Or they're buying crack and they're getting all high and doing stupid things. Then we get called in. And it's just the way it is. South Central life. We had a case where it was a heart attack. So we go to the house and lady was having a heart attack, started IVs on her, gave her some cardiac drugs, and we were taking her to the hospital. So I'm driving and my partner's in the back. I have another partner with me, we're going threes. So he was in the passenger side. And I think we're going down Manchester, and right there in South LA, and all of a sudden this car comes out of this gas station, and I'm like, there's a car here, and I'm behind that car, and a car comes out of the gas station and T-bones the car that's in the street, and all of a sudden, I've only seen that in movies where all you see is gasoline come out, like, and the whole car just like a big old fume of gas, and just, the whole car just exploded in gas, just fire. And I'm like, no way. So I flip on my siren, I come around, like car's on fire right here, so I come around like this, I'm looking, and I can see the driver of the car, she's just in the fire going through movements, trying to get out. You can see her inside the car, like moving, like you see in the movies, just cars in flames. So she's done. So I come around and I see the passenger. She's laying on her back. Her legs are in the car, but her body's out because she got ejected out because the car hit the back end of the car. Her door flew open and she fell out. And so I come around and I got my bells and whistles going, and all of a sudden I see her. She's laying there and it's just, the heat's just eating her up. So I jump out, I throw my jacket on and my hard hat, my helmet and my shield. I go down and I climb down and I grab her by the hair and her arm and I just pulled her out of the, of that fire. And she's burnt second or third degree down to her leg. And here we are. This wasn't our accident. We already had a patient. So only thing we can do is just do what I just did and wait for another RA and fire to come and take it. So what I had to do is take care of the patient until it was transferred over. And I turn around and I look and I see the patient from the heart attack. She's outside out of the ambulance. She's standing over me like this, holding her IV, going like, oh my God, look at that. I've never seen that before. And I'm like, what are you doing? I go, come on, get in the back. You're supposed to be having a heart attack. And she's all, I know, I've never seen this. I go, I never have either. She goes, man, you were quick. But the driver, perished in the fire, but it was just amazing to see the body moving, like going through like trying to open the door, just looking around. And I'm just like, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Seeing that.
Both are women.
Yeah. The lady, she survived. She went to the Sherman Oaks Burn Center, and they were able to save her. But she would have fried. If I wouldn't have pulled her out of that situation, the heat alone, her legs would have, she would have been dead. And then you just have to like shrug it off. Like we'd go to a shooting, blood and guts, and how you shut it down is you make jokes about it, you laugh about it, yeah, you see that? What you're doing is you're suppressing. Or we'd go get something to eat. Eat after you go through a horrific call and you go, hey, I'm hungry, let's go eat. What you're doing is you're suppressing. You're putting all that back, you're putting it under lock. And after a while, that lock gets picked and it just comes out. That's what happened with me with my PTSD. And I feel pretty good now because I'm on psych meds.
Yeah.
So it keeps my anxiety down. You know, my depression, I feel a lot better with. But now I got this, so it's depressing to begin with. But hey, you know, it is what it is. Take it for what it is. Sometimes, you know, you go on a call and it's, for some reason, it's just doesn't seem right. You know, you feel like when you get people who are going insane and you go talk to them. I remember one time we had a call and it was a 5150 suicide. The lady was hearing things and acting all weird, and the son called the paramedics, they called us, they called the sheriffs. Sheriffs brought a psychiatrist or a psychologist with them. This was like when I was a paramedic. And lady, she was convincing to me, but crazy people come up with the most off-the-wall stuff that where they can turn it around and manipulate you to where you'll believe them. Simple as that. And the deputy sheriff there, he knew exactly what he was doing. And she kept trying to get up to go to the bathroom, and deputy sheriff said, "No, you're not going to the bathroom." She goes, "Why can't I need to go to the bathroom?" Because if you got to go to the bathroom, go right here. And finally, you know, they're just going back and forth for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, you know what, I'm getting tired of this lady. I go, look, right now, I'm going to put you on a stretcher, I'm going to tie you down, and you're going to go out with your neighbors in a flurry of just drama with you coming out of the house tied down with you going crazy. And your neighbors are outside right now wondering what's going on. Or if I can give you the benefit and I can walk you to the ambulance and you get in and my partner will, you know, we'll get you to the hospital and get you help. And she goes, "Oh, okay, that's fine." Because she didn't want to get drug out. But the neighbors seeing her going crazy. And next thing I know, we take her to the psych hospital, and I go talking to the doctors, giving them my little, you know, history of what she was doing. You know, you got to give them what en route what we did at the ER or at the house what we did, but we didn't push no drugs or start no IV. She was just going in because she was a psych, and all of a sudden my partner, it was a lady, she was like my age, and at the time, and she goes, "Jesse, check this out." I'm all, "What?" She goes, "Look, it was right there on the stretcher." And I'm like, "What?" She goes like this, you know, it was a switchblade opened up like this. And it was the lady who had it. She was trying to go to the bathroom either to get rid of it or do herself in. But it was a switchblade, that big, beautiful switchblade. You know what a switchblade is?
You can.
No, a switchblade, no, that's like a butterfly. Switchblade is you just go hit a button, and it opens up, or a stiletto will come out like this. And I'm like, "No way." And I go, "Well, what'd you see when we were en route to the hospital?" She goes, "She kind of put her back like she's going to scratch her back, but she stood up almost." I go, "That's probably when she ditched a switchblade." But there, we didn't have her tied down. We didn't have her, you know, we had just belts on her and the stretcher, but just God forbid if she would have pulled that knife out and it went to my partner, my female partner, that would have been bad, you know.
Well, you guys didn't search her.
I was just thinking that just now. No, we didn't, but the deputy should have searched her.
Yeah.
But she was a female and it was a male deputy. So I'm like, she's like, "What are you going to do?" I go, "Check this out." Grabbed the blade, and I'm thinking, God, I should keep it. It's a nice knife. But I can't. I got to fucking help this lady. So I went into the psych hospital and got with the doctor. I go, hey, check this out. So, whoa, where'd you get that? I go, it was, the lady had it and she ditched it in the ambulance. And he's all, wow, that could have been pretty bad. I go, yeah, kind of freaking me out. And I give him the switchblade. I go, yeah, give that to the sheriffs. She had that. That's, switchblades illegal. You can't have them in the United States. And so I was like, yeah, good, got her. She would have been better off. That's what she was trying to get rid of, was the blade or do something with it. And, it's, every call's different. You can have be helping a little kid with, with something stuck in his ear that cute, to going to some place that is just sheer, mayhem, pandemonium, to where you have to get inside it and make it work for you, or people who are shot, and give them the respect and tell them what you're doing and tell them that you're going to be okay. Hang in there, just like me right now with my cancer, But a lot of these people that get shot up, they're bangers, and the more scars of gun wounds, the better off they are in the gang. So they kind of take it as like a trophy for getting shot. They would just look at you and they'll just grin. But then they'll be high on crack, don't feel no pain, and that's fine. But then when they start feeling pain, they go, hey, can I get some morphine? No, I ain't giving you morphine. Because when you're shot, you're really, the guy that was in the alley who got shot through the stomach, I loaded him up on morphine right there. I didn't even make contact with the hospital. I just started pumping morphine in him, started IVs, piggyback ringers, just get fluid, because he was just, that was the worst I've ever seen. It was a point blank, 357 Magnum, just blew him up. And, it's just stuff like that really takes a toll on your life. It's like, I don't know how my dad was a cop for 36 years.
Any case makes you want to really quit?
When I lost my compassion, because I went in there when I got, started practicing, when I was a paramedic, when I was going to save the world, 110%, compassion, I don't care who. And then coming up on my 6th year, this banger got beat up pretty severely, and we went there and we're taking him to hospital, and he was just out of control. And I'm driving, my partner's in the back, I'm looking in the mirror, and I'm seeing down the tunnel what's going on. And next thing I know, I just pulled over to ambulance, to RA, and walked into the back and undid him and threw him out and told him, you walk to the hospital, you don't carry on like that. Oh, I'm a U.S. citizen, I have rights. I go, well, you don't have rights in my book. See ya. He goes, this ain't even my area. Because I think he was a blood, and it was Crip territory. And he had all red. So I just left him, and my partner's all, we're gonna lose our badges, we're gonna lose everything. Nah, he ain't gonna call, don't worry. But that's when I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm to the point now where I'm not gonna do it anymore. That's when my dad came in and told me, and he goes, you're young enough, you can go back to school, do something else. And that's what I did. I just turned in my badge. And captain looked at me and goes, you're giving up a career? And I'm like, no, I'm not. You can have it. And walked out. Well, I finished my shift, and then, I couldn't be derelict of a shift. But it was fun. I liked it. Saw a lot, done a lot. You know, a lot of people don't know what I've been through, you know, as far as my life. But right at the height of the pandemic 2 years ago, I was living in Whittier, and the place just let go. It was just got dilapidated, rats in the house. Everybody had COVID in the house, and I was just gone. I just said, I'm out of here. And I moved into a hotel in the most seediest, gang-infested part of town. I lived there in this hotel for a year. I had money. I had, money, was always good. But I was paying, $90, $80 a night there. So it added up. I paid, you go by what, $2,400 a month, times that by 12. That's a lot of money. Finally I got to the point where I was like getting over it, and I was like, PTSD was coming back, my anxiety, because I just couldn't deal with it. So I took a big old handful of pills and took them and went to sleep. Next morning I wake up going like, wow, I can't even do that.
You want to?
I wanted to kill myself. I took a handful of pills, and I woke up, and I'm like, wow, now what? So then my brother calls, 'cause I sent everybody good farewell texts to the family, and my brother calls, and I answer. He goes, oh, you're still alive. I'm like, yeah. He goes, good, I'm coming to get you. So he picked me up, and they took me to Whittier Presbyterian Hospital, PIH, and they admitted me on a voluntary psych. So they sent me to a psych place hospital in La Palma, and it was a really good place. These social workers and these nurses were really good. And the social worker's the one that connected me with Nancy. And the social worker goes, yeah, I'm going to talk to this lady, Nancy, from Come to Him Ministries. Are you okay with that? I go, yeah. So she told me, and she goes, here, give her a call. She's interested. So called her up. She's okay, tomorrow. Can you wait until tomorrow? We're going to get the room cleaned out and see if you like it. We're here to help you. I'm like, okay. So I went there, and met Bob. Talked to Bob, and he goes, yeah, welcome. And that's where I came in to Come to Him Ministries. Because I don't know where I'd be now. Either, living my life, but as far as being sick with cancer, that's a whole new story of itself that I'm just kind of like perturbed about. Now, before I was in denial of it, that I don't have it, but now it's turned from denial to being mad. Because I'm getting tired of this colostomy. I'm going through chemo and radiation at the same time. So I have to like bite the bullet and go through it, and pray to God that, He spares my life. But I just think that God did me the favor by turning me on to Come to Him Ministries, because I always wanted to read the Bible and understand it, because I was born and raised Catholic, went to Catholic school, confirmation, baptism, confirmation, did all that. But there we were forbid to go into the New Testament as far as Catholics. You just stick to what's in front of you as far as church. And I always wanted to learn the Bible and read it and understand it. And with Come to Him, I was like, oh, this is my chance to read the Bible. And I learned a lot. The New Testament, about Book of Mark was pretty, pretty cool.
Thank you very much for the story.
Yeah.